Top 10 most badass women in anime number 10. Android 18. First up on the chopping block, we've got none other than the mechanical menace of a cyborg herself, the misnamed Android 18. If you're into anime at all and you haven't spent your life under a rock, you already know Android 18. Don't let her stunning looks fool you, though. She can break a man's heart almost as fast as she can crack their arms, and Vegeta can vouch for that one. With the insanely intimidating build-up and introduction that 18 got alongside her brother and 16 in DBZ, and the otherworldly ass-beating she gave Super Saiyan Vegeta, who was the second strongest character at the time, Android 18 was a badass right off the bat. But over the years, her character's only gotten cooler as she's gotten more development. Now, after mellowing out and marrying Krillin, and even having a kid with him, 18's gone from just being one of the most badass women in anime to one of the most badass moms as well. If you can rock up to a death tournament that decides the fate of your universe in a tracksuit and an attitude, you just know you've got it. 9. Erza Hawkeye. 18's far from the only blonde that screams badass energy, though, because next on our list is none other than Erza Hawkeye from Full Metal Alchemist. Or Brotherhood, if you prefer, I guess. Erza is kind of a complex character in many ways, but no one can argue against her being one of the most level-headed and cool characters on the show. Acting as the better half of Roy Mustang, Erza's a former elite sniper, an expert hand-to-hand fighter, smart enough to get out of damn near any bind, and she has an unshakable moral compass. Even putting aside her combat capabilities, Erza's the kind of character you could pull a knife on out of nowhere, and instead of being surprised, she'll just shoot first and ask questions never. Hell, just ask Barry the Chopper. 8. Mikasa Ackerman. Keeping in line with the theme of ladies that kick ass in the military, we obviously can't leave Mikasa off of a list like this. As a bearer of the genetic powers of the Ackerman line, Mikasa's been the muscle of her friend group since day one. This lady was kicking ass all the way back when her and her friends couldn't even reach the top shelf, terrifying bullies just with her mere presence. And then, of course, she grew up and became an absolute demon on the battlefield, Beyblading around with moves that'd make Levi proud. As someone who's fiercely loyal to those she loves and cares for, Mikasa never hesitates to push herself to her limits and beyond. And when it comes down to it, no matter how much it might hurt, she does the right thing. Kind of a spoiler if you haven't finished Attack on Titan, so sorry about that. 7. Mereoleona Vermilion. Next, we have a flaming lion with such a thirst for battle that her enemies cower from the mere thought of facing her. Mereoleona Vermilion is, to put it simply, chaos incarnate. This woman is an animal on the battlefield, tearing everyone she faces a new one, and doing it with a smirk on her face. Hell, even after getting completely ganged up on during the return of the elves, Mereoleona just took it all with a grin and proceeded to clutch a 1 versus 5. And spoiler warnings for any anime only, but just how insane do you have to be for not even death to keep you off the battlefield? 6. Yoruichi Shihoin. Of course, if lions aren't quite your speed, you can always try cats. In this case, a shape-shifting cat that turns into the goddess of Flash herself, Yoruichi Shihoin. Now yes, as far as the weeb community's concerned, the reason for Yoruichi's popularity is a lot more one-dimensional than she actually is. You know who you are, you freaks. But in-universe, Yoruichi has saved the main cast time and time again. Between saving their bacon in practically every arc, being one of Ichigo's main teachers, creating a whole new technique with her Shunko, mastering Flash Step to such a high degree, and more, Yoruichi is easily one of the most accomplished women in anime. And that's all before we even consider her fierce loyalty to her friends. This is a woman that straight up abandoned her position as head of one of her world's greatest clans and chose exile with Kisuke over letting him be framed alone. Entire essays could be and have been written about what a badass Yoruichi is, but for the sake of not turning this video into a movie, that's where we'll leave this. Number 5, Maruko. Next up on this little list of animal-themed women, a rabbit. Or to be more precise, we've got Maruko from MHA in number 5, which funnily enough is also her hero rank. That alone says all you need to know. In a world where monsters like All Might and Endeavor are the top of the pile, pulling yourself to the top 5 is something only the baddest of asses can pull off. From her no-nonsense attitude to her bone-crushing kicks, the rabbit hero is a character that simply cannot be kept down. Seriously, not even losing half her limbs stopped this beast of a woman from continuing her work as a hero, and she still does it solo. 4. Maki Zenin. Moving on, our next entry is a woman who's carved out a place in the top 10 through nothing more than sheer effort, dedication, and grit. It's the Jujutsu High student whose curse technique is straight hands, Maki Zenin. It doesn't matter what anime or power system you're looking at. If there's a character that's still hanging in there and can't use their world's special power, chances are they're a goddamn demon. Rock Lee, Asta, the list goes on. Maki is one of the monsters on that list, using her raw physical ability in combination with cursed tools of immense power to destroy anyone in her path. And then there's the fact that she becomes a muscle mommy towards the end of the series. What more is there to say? 3. Esdeath. Speaking of women that could kill you, General Esdeath is easily on top of that subcategory of badass women. Because if you're not a twink named Tatsumi, she will turn you into a broken slave that lives only to lick her boots before being frozen into a living popsicle. Esdeath isn't just a badass. She's her. Conquering entire nations, crushing her opposition, ruling with an iron fist, and all while fighting for love. The literal Ice Queen is second to none. She is third, though, because spot number 2 goes to a very different kind of warrior. To Erza Scarlet, I'm of course talking about Fairy Tail's strongest witch, the woman of 1,000 armors, Titania herself, Erza Scarlet. Need I really elaborate? With her mastery of a magic as simple as requip, Erza's basically the Ben 10 of anime when it comes to combat. If there's a sticky situation on the battlefield, you can bet your kidneys Erza has an armor set that's perfect for dealing with it. But her powers alone aren't what make Erza the badass she is. Erza Scarlet is a character whose whole life has been full of adversity. Torn from her home as a child and forced into slavery in the Tower of Heaven, Erza persevered for years before escaping in a prison break made possible by her own powers. From there, every passing year was just another step on her journey to becoming the strongest she could be, all while meeting new people to call family and defend with her life. Her moment in the Guild War arc alone cements Erza as one of the most badass characters of all time, where she stood her ground and tanked a magical nuke to protect her home and family. And somehow, that's hardly even one of her top 5 moments. Number 1, Retsu Unohana. So, after that, who could possibly beat Erza for the top spot on this list? Well, try the first Kenpachi, a woman who mastered 1,000 blades, only for there to be none that could match her with even one. A woman who was so powerful that she learned the healing arts just to keep her opponents alive long enough for her to actually enjoy her fights. Retsu Unohana, the original demon of the Gotei 13. And not only was she the strongest of the original court guard squads, she lived through thousands of years, making her the second oldest captain after Yamamoto himself. When she finally did go out, it was in a blaze of pure glory, cut down in a gruesome battle to the death that would birth an even bigger demon than herself, a demon of her own creation, the strongest Kenpachi in history, handing the reins to the strongest Kenpachi of today. With a legacy several centuries beyond what anyone else here can boast, Retsu Unohana can easily be placed as the most badass woman in anime. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel and ring that notification bell to be notified of any latest uploads. That said, see you in the next one.